So this session is being recorded. And hi everyone, my name is Lindy Forrest. You can see me in the video. I'm going to try and keep the video up. Hopefully we stay connected that way, just so that you have a visual connection and another way of, oh, I see Smoky River got their check mark up, excellent. Another way of trying to connect to what's going on in an online environment. So give me a green check mark if you've taken an online class before. No, yes. Okay. Oh, Gift Lake, yes. Roxanne? No. So it's kind of the same, but it's also different. So sometimes it's easier to stray from your thoughts. You won't always have a video to look at or a person to see. You can connect to your instructor. They should have their instructor poster online on their Moodle, or maybe your instructor's on site. You get to see them every day, which is nice. So be aware. Beware the distractions. Welcome to the session of Be Now Here or Be Nowhere. So this is some easy ways to do better and be more successful and be more happy when you are in class. Feel free to stop me at any time. Put up your hand if you have any questions. So just to review, what are successful students? Well, they're responsible and active, so they deal with problems very quickly. They feel the fear and do it anyway, so you can see that I have starts with deal with problems quickly and feel the fear and do it anyway. So sometimes we're nervous when we have to talk to somebody about a problem we have, or if things are falling behind, or we're having some challenges at home or whatever. It's sometimes hard to talk to somebody right away, but the sooner you deal with things, the better. Successful students aren't afraid to ask for help. They attend classes regularly. Did you know that students who attend classes study less? It's true. They've done research on it. Especially coming to class prepared is important. Come to class a couple minutes early. Make sure you have your books and whatever other things that you need. Your notebook, pens, pencils, calculator if it's a math class. You participate in class, and online that's a little bit more challenging, but you'll see that there's a chat, there's the emotions and the check marks and the X's. You can raise your hand to let the instructor know you have a question. The other thing successful students do is they learn and use strategies to improve their learning. So they learn what it is, it's learning how you learn. When you were in high school, there was probably only one way of teaching. Or they may not have recognized that there's different ways of learning. So once you find that out, it's a lot easier to study for things. Learn about the tools and the help that's available to you. So get on your Moodle, look at the different courses there, talk to people, talk to your counselor, talk to your LF. Feel the fear and do it anyways. It is scary to start a new thing. Whether you've been a returning student or you're brand new to the program, it's brand new courses. It's scary. Keep an eye on your goals. That can help you get through the tough times and learn how to be here now. So let's get to it. We're going to look at the power of thought. So for the next 10 seconds, do not think of a pink elephant. And I'm just going to time it. Now, are you thinking of pink elephant, or were you able to avoid that? Any comments? Yeah, just feel free to type it in the chat if you have any comments while I keep talking. A lot of times if we're told not to do something or not to think of something, we think of it. So what happens is it distracts us from the moment, and all we're getting is a busy signal. We're not learning very well. I need to not think of the elephant. And the elephant in the room can be things like being overwhelmed. And what you have to do is, what I've heard somebody relate it to, is eat the elephant a little bit at a time. So for you hunters out there, you can understand that. So make sure you do what you're doing when you're doing it and pay attention to your attention. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Beware of your automatic thoughts. So that if you notice, sometimes there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So when you're talking to somebody, you might be thinking, oh, what am I going to say next? Why did I say that? That was really dumb. That happens to me when I'm teaching. I'll think, oh, why did I say that? That was just really dumb. So why would I say that it's really dumb? And how is that going to affect me? Well, I have to see that if I say that to myself enough time, I'm starting to create a story around what I'm doing or not doing or what I think I should be doing. So the big thing is change your story and change your mind. Stop thinking about pink elephants. Don't sell yourself short. And beware comparing yourself to others. Sometimes that's easy to do, and it's easy to start feeling like we don't measure up, whether it's things we see in the media or people around us or people that we know in our lives. Don't let assumptions trip you up. So don't assume things about you like, I can't do math. Don't assume things about the college like, we're not here to help you or we don't care. Don't assume things about the course, and don't assume things about your instructor. It's very important that you try and keep an open mind. And if you're back here for the first time and you haven't been in school for a long time, you're going to have stuff that comes up from back then that maybe isn't that pleasant. So just be aware of that and remember that you're in a new situation and you're with new people. And if you change your story, you can change your mind. So I'm going to try and show you a short little video. It's about automatic thoughts, and it gives you some strategies on how to recognize them and how to change them. So they're going to talk a little bit about assumptions, those should, must, and oughts, and the best thing I heard was sometimes we should all over ourselves, and it really is true. To be aware of what's kind of fantasy or that not fair, poor me, overgeneralization, and something called catastrophizing. So I'm going to go to the video. If you can't hear it or you're having any problems at all, make sure you're letting me know what they showed in the video. Yes, I see some check marks. All of the above. Yes, excellent. And my big thing is the should. I'm the working mother with the toddler, with the, you know, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and I do should all over myself. And sometimes I get paralyzed and I have to take a step back and say, okay, what am I really doing here? So what it comes back to is the power of our minds. And they're actually doing a lot of scientific study. Neuroscientists who study the brains have been studying things like meditation and positive thinking and how it does affect learning. So you're actually thought to be 31% smarter if you get into a positive mindset. Your brain releases dopamine, which is a chemical in your brain. Because of it, you're happier. All the learning centers of your brain are turned on, and your abilities on average are boosted by 31%. So one suggestion is, and if your instructors don't do it, which they probably won't, but think of 3 things that you're grateful for before you start a class. It puts you in that mindset where your dopamine is released and you actually will learn better. So just by being in class and thinking positively, you can improve your learning. Isn't that cool? This comes from a TED Talk, if you're familiar with it. TED Talks are like these conferences, and Sean Aker is the man who presents on the science of happy, and it's really entertaining if you get a chance. So he gives some suggestions on releasing those happy centers in 6 easy ways. So what you do is you spend 2 minutes a day and write down 3 things you're grateful for. So take a minute and think, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for even small things. If you're having a really bad day, you can be grateful for the fact that you can see. There's that saying that I felt sorry for myself that I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet. And I actually experienced that when I traveled to India. I was saying that, and I looked out the tour bus window, and there was a man with no feet on the side of the road. So, you know, traveling or seeing other experiences can kind of make us grateful for what we have. Another idea is to journal about 1 positive experience you've had every 24 hours. Exercising actually releases those happy centers. So there is a lot of science behind the fact that exercise helps stress and helps learning. Learn to focus on one thing at a time. So can you, for a moment, just focus on your breath? Can you drown out everything else? Can you drown out my voice? Can you drown out the sound of the computer, other people talking? Can you just focus on your breath? A simple little exercise like that can help you train your brain. Perform random acts of kindness. There's studies around how many muscles it takes to smile as opposed to how many it takes to frown. So if you're worried about wrinkles in the future, well, smile more, frown less. And here's a challenge to you. Write one positive email or text to someone you know every time you open up your cell phone or email. And I've tried that, and it's difficult to follow, but it does feel really good. So when we look at being responsible and active, along with keeping track of our thoughts, paying attention, staying positive, is making that choice. So right now you're excited, hopefully, and you're starting on your new journey, your new classes, your new instructors. It's a little scary, it's a little exciting, but as time goes on, your personal life is going to start to feed in a little bit when you're trying to pay attention in class. You might be bored or daydream. You might want to text or sleep or talk over the teacher to your classmates. So make a choice every day before you step into the classroom to be here now. Actively listen, think, ask lots of questions, try and participate in class, communicate, focus on your goals, and above all, be bold. Feel that fear and do it anyways. Remember, if you change your mind, you change your world. Don't let your beliefs limit you, so start looking at those assumptions and those shoulds or those musts or you ought to. Habits. Train your brain like an athlete, and this is probably the best advice that I was told, because I thought, like maybe some of you, those automatic thoughts, I could get rid of them. But because we are human beings and we have good days and bad days, I'm going to have maybe some more negative thoughts on some days than others. If I keep training my brain, so by writing those 3 things that I'm grateful for, by doing things like focusing on my breath, another thing you can do is right now you can try and squeeze your toes. Curl them up and then let them go. You can try and squeeze your thighs or your legs, really contract those muscles, and then let them go. Then all of a sudden you're a little bit more in touch with where you're sitting. Are you aware of the chair, or have you been sitting there and not even been aware that you're sitting on a chair? Are you aware that there's a pen in your hand? Those kind of things. Just by training your brain, by recognizing that you have some stress and that you create stress sometimes by how you think, you'll be more successful. 75% of job successes are predicted by your optimism levels, your social support, and your ability to see stress as a challenge instead of a threat. And that social support is really, really important. So one of the keys to students being successful in school and college is feeling like they're part of a community. And we're so far apart from each other, what you have to try a little harder sometimes. So you might want to try and connect to other students in your class, connect to what's going on in your campus, go on the AU Hub on Moodle and connect to your other community members who are in the AU program. And remember, when you start getting into the thick of things and you're feeling overwhelmed, break it down into little steps. Keep an eye on your goal and work backwards till you get back to the present. Sometimes it's breaking it down and just doing what's in front of you for that moment. And right now with startup, and I'm in school at the University of Calgary, and I have a little one, and sometimes I can feel overwhelmed. So what I do is I try and focus on what's in front of me at that moment. What's my priority, and getting that done. And that once I get one thing done, it's easier to get on to other things. That community and talking to each other makes a huge difference. Connecting with your instructor and your LF, Give them a call. Don't be scared. That's what they're there for. Sometimes it's hard to pick up that phone, especially nowadays when we're so used to texting. I'm really guilty of that. Last year, my New Year's resolution was to call people instead of texting, and I think it lasted for about 2 weeks, and that was it. If you're having a lot of difficulties in any area of your schooling or your personal life or money, anything like that, the counselor's there for you. So make sure you connect with them. Sometimes we make a mountain out of a molehill, and that's kind of that catastrophizing or that overgeneralization, like, oh my goodness, I failed an exam, life's over, I'm no good at math, or I'm no good at English, or I'm a lousy student, or I'm never going to be able to do this. By talking it out, you can start to see things as shadows, really, because you start to see things in the big picture. So as we wrap up this session, the ABCs of mindfulness are how to pay attention in class. So if you think A is for awareness, so things like noticing your breath, noticing the chair that you're in, sometimes that can get you refocused on what's going on in front of you. Watching a screen for 80 minutes is tough. It is. It takes a lot of practice to be able to focus. If you have to stand up and stretch in order to refocus yourself, do that. Do what you need to do to stay aware in your class, because it will help you get better marks with less work. B is for just being. Just be yourself. Just be there. Enjoy the moment. Be grateful for the fact that we live here in a place where we have this kind of opportunity to go to school. We have the technology to connect with each other at great distances. C is for clarity. Seeing things for what they are. So really use those suggestions in that video about automatic thoughts. Take a look at what you're thinking. Try and look at some rational or flip it, rational ways of looking at it, and then moving on. I is for interest. So sometimes we're in courses and you're really not that interested. You really do need it for your career goal, and that's it. You just got to get through it, and that's a reality too. Some things that can help you get through it is teach what you're learning to someone else. Someone else might find it interesting, and you can kind of get excited that way. Try and make the information personal, so transfer it to your own experience. Ask lots of questions. And again, remember your goal. Why are you there? Okay, so you're not really into algebra, but this is going to help you get your Math 10, and this is going to help you get into your nursing program or your engineering program or your teaching program or whatever it is. And we have another I, just because I don't know my ABCs very well yet, but again, ask lots of questions. When you intend to remember something and you ask questions, it helps repeat it, which will reinforce it. If you intend to remember, you make the information personal. So think about the things that stick with you in class. It might be that story. It might be that weird remark about, it might be that story about the person's child. It might be that picture. Something that connected to you on more than just that one level is going to transfer it into your brain and help you remember it better. And before you get to class, say, I will learn this now and not wait until later. And for those of you who are procrastinators like me, yes, you need to pretend you have to write a quiz when you finish with at $10 for every correct answer. Now, I don't know if you can do that, but if you can, it is a good incentive. Another thing is I intend to remember this and not get distracted. Put a rubber band on your wrist and snap it when you drift away. That's a little bit extreme, but it is a suggestion. Another thing is when reading an assignment, talk back to the writer. So maybe argue with the novelist or the character in the story in order to remember, or you may just ask questions. So just remember, if you always do what you have always done, you always get what you always got. And that applies to both positive and negative things. If you're happy with some of the things that you've done, some of your habits that you have, or any habits that you've changed. I know I used to be a smoker, and now I'm not, and that was a big, big hurdle and a big, big challenge, and I can learn from that. I can learn from things that set me up for that failure or that overgeneralization, like I'm no good at math. Well, maybe I need to pay more attention, ask more questions. Maybe I just need to change the way I'm thinking about myself. So we have a couple of minutes left. That's it for this presentation. Does anybody have any questions or comments that you'd like to share? Feel free to press the talk button or write something in the chat. I know this is really quick. It's a lot to process. And you probably have pre-course assignments that you have to get done. So with that, I'll let you go. Enjoy your day and good luck with all your studies.